Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another video, and this is the last of the 3 requests for Mark, who wanted me to react to another video from Everything and Nothing, exploring the history of Jurassic Park The Ride. Which, I did ride this, I think it was in Hollywood. I think this is when I went to, my brother graduated from the Marine Corps. And as a family, we went to California. Guess that's where the ceremony was for the Marines. And then said, okay, we're there. Might as well explore Disneyland and Universal Studios Hollywood. I do remember enjoying this ride. But thanks, Mark, for the request. If anyone wants to request any type of videos, reviews, re-reviews of a movie, or a topic, a tier list, ranking, video game request, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And also a shout out to Everything and Nothing, who was nice enough to give me permission for the Back to the Future ride reaction in this. He said as long as you mention the channel, which of course, no problem. Everything and Nothing, the link to the channel and to the video are down below. Feel free to watch the video first or after or whatever, so you don't hear me just yapping through it. And he's done quite a few videos. He's done videos on the ride on Jaws, Back to the Future, which I reacted to, Bat Draft. Man, I forgot about the Bat Draft ride. Men in Black, Alien Attack, Twister, the Fast and Furious ride. I forgot there was T for the end. There's a Fast and Furious ride for good reason, I'm sure. But this is 26 minutes and 52 seconds. I'm pause the beginning. So let me get this. Thanks once again to Mark for the request and for Everything and Nothing for being nice enough to give me permission to use the footage. 3, 2, 1, pressing play.
The Jurassic Park River Adventure is a high-tech, thrilling boat ride that once existed at Universal Studios Hollywood and still lives on at Universal Studios Orlando. When the ride first launched in 1996, it was
no
one of
longer
the
at
most
Hollywood,
expensive
okay.
theme park attractions ever built, costing a total of over $110 million. The price alone was double the amount of money it took to make the first Jurassic Park film, and I would say it was worth every penny for Universal to spare no expense.
It was a fun ride, I remember
The Jurassic
that.
Park ride, in my eyes, sits
Then it was
among the greats when it
110
comes to
million.
classic theme park attractions, a modern-day Pirates of the Caribbean. And similarly, it showcases the company's strengths in theming and animatronics. This ride has been in operation at Universal Orlando for 25 years, so today let's take a deep dive into the history of the Jurassic Park River Adventure, or Jurassic Park The Ride, on both coasts, and also look into how both versions are holding up in today's future hellscape of 2025. And of course,
Hellscape is a good way to put it.
The Jurassic Park ride, we'll have to go back to the year 1981.
I did like the
MTV
use of that
uses
music.
to make its television debut,
Everyone
and
want the
President Ronald
dinosaur.
Reagan was shot outside the Washington Hotel by John Hinckley Jr. Also in that same year,
Hey, Reagan
Oppenheimer
survived,
Reagan
just like,
began development
50
on a
Cent.
screenplay about a college student cloning a dinosaur. This would be his attempt at cashing in on the recently booming dinosaur craze of the early 80s. In his own words, the story was
And
incredibly
Denver,
different from Jurassic Park.
I
with it
remember
focusing on
Denver,
this
the
character
last
kinda
dinosaur.
running around a college campus hiding.
Why do you think that was like
experiences and such,
Australian
but
or something?
ultimately,
I
he
don't
said
know.
It just wasn't satisfactory enough.
Denver,
After thinking through
the
the
last
idea of cloning
dinosaur.
dinosaurs,
Sorry.
he thought about who in the world would actually want to pursue the idea of spending the money to make dinosaurs.
I swear, I
other
thought he was
than
gonna
the
put that in his
entertainment
mouth.
industry. Thus, the idea of a dinosaur.
When he put
theme
that
park
up,
was
he's like,
born.
I thought he was
In
gonna be
order
like,
to keep this video about the ride, I'll summarize the book itself, and it's incredibly interesting. I read it when I was younger. It leans a little bit more into the heist elements of the story rather than
The book is a bit
survival
more
elements,
darker,
like the
too.
horror elements that we kind of see in the
Jeff
movie.
Goldblum's
And
character
I
dies
think
in
it's
it.
actually a really fun read. It gets into all the little technical details that you would kind of want from the book rather than what's featured in the movie, and it makes sense why they don't feature this in the movie. I think it would be really boring, and of course, what else do you want to see other than dinosaurs eating people? Featured in this book, though, is inspiration that would lead to the creation of the actual ride, making this kind of a weird one where the development of the book and the movie and the ride were all kind of happening in various stages all at the same time. So to go back to the book side of things, Spielberg already had his eyes on adapting the book into a movie before it was even published. He learned this while working with Crichton on a screenplay for a show that would eventually become ER, and if you don't know what ER is, ask your mom about it. The book became the belle of the ball for all the big time directors at the time, such as Tim Burton, Joe Dante, and even James Cameron, who were all kind of foaming at the mouth for development rights. Spielberg at the time was trying to make his passion project and masterpiece Schindler's List, and was trying to
James
get it off the
Cameron
ground
said
with
if he did
Universal.
Jurassic
Sid
Park, it would have been a lot more like
Sheinberg of MCA told
Aliens.
Spielberg that he would give him
Much
the green light to
more
make Schindler's List only
violent,
if he also
intense.
signed on to direct Jurassic Park at the same time. And I'm gonna try to summarize the.
Kinda wanna
development of
see
the
that
film, but
version
there's
of
just
it,
so
to
much
be
about
honest.
Jurassic Park that is revolutionary and so important to film history that I'm gonna maybe have to make another video about it. I want to start, making history videos more in depth about the makings of various movies. I find it super fascinating, so let me know in the comments if you do too, and maybe I'll start doing that. Spielberg set out to challenge himself and make a film that would almost be a spiritual sequel to Jaws, but, of course on the
Yeah,
land.
crazy
He's also
special
inspired
effects
by
in
the
that movie.
scale and VFX work of the original King Kong. This is where the ride and the film's development start to overlap during the final
Rest in
stages of
peace,
the script.
Stan.
Universal
Stan
and
Winston.
Hollywood in general were
Rest
pretty
in
convinced
peace,
that
man.
Jurassic Park was going to be a smash hit. Spielberg could do no wrong, and people fighting and running from
Oh, is that Dean
dinosaurs is a
Cundy?
concept that
Yeah.
just kind of prints money.
The
so
DP.
Spielberg and longtime friend and college
Behind
roommate
Spielberg.
Peter Alexander looked into developing Jurassic Park into a theme park attraction. For those of you who don't know, Peter Alexander is a mastermind behind what we would consider classic Universal. He kind of did it all. If you haven't watched the last couple of videos, I feel like we've been talking about him in every single one. But originally, they were going to make this a Jeep-based attraction, which, due to the nature of the script and the Jeep scene being such an iconic and big part of the movie, this made a lot of sense. There was even concept art drafted about this idea. This would be scrapped, though, when Peter would call Tony Christopher, CEO of Landmark Entertainment, and while brainstorming, Tony looked to the book to find ideas for the ride. In the book, when Lex and Tim are trying to get back to the visitor center, they basically hop into a boat and they go down this Jurassic Park almost water experience while being chased by like the T-Rex and the Velociraptors. And there was even a drop featured in this part of the book, so it's almost like Michael Crichton was just giving them a layup for a boat ride. Like he was inspired by pirates in the book itself, and then this translated to real life. So it's all kind of cool. Also, considering Universal at the time really didn't.
I like some of that
have too many
artwork
water
too.
rides
Some
or
really cool looking
water ride
artwork.
at all. So this was kind of an easy layup for them. At this point, they had the concept and were drafting the deal with Landmark to come on and help make the ride a reality. But at this point, there was a slight hole. Again, they were confident, but due to the budget of the ride originally being more than $60 million, the price that they were already paying to make the movie, Universal understandably wanted to make sure Jurassic Park wouldn't flop. Tony said, "When you develop these attractions, it's a 3-year process." They were still working on the movie and doing filming and post-production, and Universal wanted to make sure that the movie was a hit before they spent $100 million doing the ride.
Makes
Everybody thought it was
sense.
going to be a hit because of Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton, and this was a new book, but they just wanted to make sure. I feel like movies like these are more common nowadays, with Disney planning Marvel movies 50 years in the future, banking on the fact that they are all hits. But this was a huge risk and a giant money sink. If the movie flopped, they already put so much money into making Jurassic Park a franchise, it would all be for nothing. This put an incredible amount of pressure on Steven Spielberg and basically led to him having one of the hardest years of his whole filmmaking career. I feel like everyone always puts him on this godlike pedestal. It's incredibly fair. He is one of the best filmmakers of all time. But Steven himself is incredibly humble and down to earth, always describing his processes as hard labors of
Very
love
young
that come with
Christian
blood, sweat, and
Bale.
tears. So not only did he have to make the biggest blockbuster hit of the 90s, but he also had to make one of the best historical dramas of modern cinema. This would be an incredibly taxing process for Spielberg, but he did it all for the love of storytelling, so, shout out. Once the movie came out, it was an absolute smash hit, and all of his hard work really did pay off.
You never
The
really
film
hear
featured
about
revolutionary
60
special
Minutes
effects work
anymore.
from special effects legends Stan Winston and Phil Tippett, and also some groundbreaking CGI work.
The 60
from the
minute-
team over
oh,
at
sorry.
ILM. The
Going off
blending of
tangent.
practical and CGI effects is a masterclass in pulling off digital effects, using CGI for wide shots and practical.
Yeah,
effects
the
for
idea was
close-ups
maybe
is a
what if
perfect
we do is
recipe for
stop
making
motion,
believable
but then
dinosaurs. Again, I
the
could go into
CGI
length
was
about
just-
all the little things I love about Jurassic
people were so
Park.
impressed by
That's
it.
another video. The film
When
being such
went
a
in that
smash hit
direction
was an
instead of
instant
stop
green light for
motion.
Universal to finalize the deal with Landmark Entertainment, and now they could finally start work on Jurassic Park: The Ride. I see this said a lot about Jurassic Park the ride, that they, started developing it and they actually already had the ride ready before the movie came out. Based off Tony's words, it seems like they waited for the movie to come out before they started creating the ride. A lot of people speculate though on the internet, and they're always saying, it came out first, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Now that the movie was actually out, they can now pick and choose which elements and scenes that they would actually want to recreate on the ride. Tony Christopher said, "We had to make sure that every time you saw a dinosaur on the ride, it wasn't the same thing. We were trying to keep the interest of the guests all the way through. We did drawings and then we did movement diagrams, like this dinosaur is going to have a head move and its mouth is going to open." We also created the soundtrack because the soundtrack is 50% of the whole thing. The team over at Landmark was really having fun with this idea, and they were kind of given a blank check, so Universal really wasn't checking in too often. Eventually, towards the end of the actual concepting process, they would come in and cut a lot of scenes, and one of them would be Tony's favorite, which would be the pterodactyl aviary. The boat would enter an enclosed dome where pterodactyls would spring out and start flying towards you, and this would be a really cool scene and kind of a missed opportunity when Universal rethemed the Hollywood version. In the first Jurassic World movie, the pterodactyls are a big part. I mean, they drowned the hell out of that one lady in that one scene, but I just think it was a missed opportunity to take one of the original ideas from the original ride and bring it to this new remaster. Another lost concept idea was incorporating an actor who'd be a Jurassic Park employee attempting to help us evacuate that maintenance area at the end of the ride. He would eventually be killed by a pack of velociraptors, and this idea would just be replaced with the lunging raptors that we see on like that electrical fence, but I still think it would be kind of cool. I get it though, like paying an actor to do this every day would be kind of stupid, and also if they couldn't get an actor, the effect would look weird, so it's better this way. Eventually they would finalize a concept that would be pretty much the version of the ride that we all know and love today. One thing was for sure though, in order to create the ride, they would need huge animatronics that would be able to be exposed to water and sunlight, something that isn't the easiest task. Universal enlists help from Sarcos, a US robotics contractor that was recently dipping its toes into the theme park industry, working recently with Disney on the Great Movie Ride. The company has had experience with deep sea robotics before, so they were a perfect fit for the job. Sarcos found the technology being used. Dinosaurs that can run for 15 to 12 hours a day in harsh conditions kind of hard. Not to mention there's rarely any repeat dinosaurs. Every scene features something new and different, so it required a lot of thinking going into it. The skin on each animatronic was made to
make sure something doesn't break and hurt or kill a damn.
Dinosaurs were so big that they had to use workshops across the whole United States, saying we were tapping into every resource that was available because everything was being done almost all at once. The first figures we did were the smaller ones because the machine shops found it easier to deal with those kind of parts, but as we got into the larger pieces, they were all welded together by a submarine manufacturing company in Salt Lake City. It took a team of 15 sculptors and mold makers to create the look of the dinosaurs, and they worked with assets from the film to nail the looks perfectly. They would also consult paleontologists to, quote, keep them honest on the movements and sounds of the dinosaurs. There was 16 dinosaurs that they would have to create, including a 22-foot tall T-Rex, which was actually slightly bigger than an actual T-Rex. But they realized in execution it would need to be much larger to actually scare people. They also built the T-Rex originally to kind of move and shake its head back and forth, but while testing this has caused the entire building to begin to shake, so they decided against that. The T-Rex animatronic was 80,000 pounds, so it was probably for the best if they did do that. And if we learned anything from the Yeti and Expedition Everest, it's that large animatronics are incredibly hard to take care of, especially when they have the force and weight of a small building. Universal wouldn't get any of the cast to reprise their roles for the ride, with the exception of course Richard Attenborough. Construction would begin right after the release of the movie. The boat system would be a modernized shoot-to-shoot.
Yeah, I didn't see Jeff Goldblum or Sam Neill returning for a ride.
Multiple-seated boat water ride, and would feature a surprisingly steep 85-foot drop.
I mean, Christopher Lloyd did it for Back to the Future. I think Bill Paxton did it for
Steven Spielberg and
Twister, so
where they lit this Olympic torch-looking thing. The ride was opened in June of 1996, and the hype and advertising for this ride was huge. Universal even created an online game for the ride titled Jurassic Park: The Ride Online Adventure, which still exists today. I've tried to click through it all, but it was definitely not working super well, so go check it out, see if you can get a little bit further than I did, but it seemed cool. NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon would also drive a car promoting the ride, which would be banned after one race because I guess it was just too fast, meaning that the badassery of the Jurassic Park ride was just too strong for NASCAR. I don't know. The ride was a huge hit, and considering the fact that it cost over $100 million, it better have been. It was another true e-ticket Disney level ride.
That's just weird to have like a
kind of compete at
NASCAR.
Universal without the Jurassic Park ride. So
that's a weird way to advertise your ride with NASCAR.
Over at Hollywood, they decided to greenlight the construction of an East Coast Jurassic Park ride at their new up-and-coming theme park, Islands of Adventure. The differences between each attraction are minimal. They are pretty much the same experience, but I will say that the scale of the Orlando one feels a little bit larger, and all the plant foliage and the themed Jurassic Park area surrounding it make for a much more immersive experience. And things like the car falling is replaced with like this bouncing raptor crate that you kind of see in the beginning of the first movie. If we are comparing the rides though, nothing can compare to the original Hollywood version. And lots of people agree that the Hollywood version was a little bit scarier than the Orlando version for whatever reason. But for me, as long as the car is actually working, the Hollywood version will always be the best and my favorite. But let's break down what you'd experience on the Hollywood version of Jurassic Park: The Ride. The ride starts
that does look familiar.
At a docking station inside of Jurassic Park. In the Q video, we get the idea that we are guests at Jurassic Park and we will be going on a themed lagoon tour of the water section of the park. After a misleading lift hill, we coast around a turn and encounter the iconic Jurassic Park gates, where you hear the voice of John Hammond say, "Time.
Never flowing river.
Welcome to Jurassic Park." The classic John Williams score swells as the giant gates open with cool added sound effects. This is when we enter the Ultrasaur Lagoon, a large and open themed area complete with giant Ultrasaurs towering over us, smacking on plants.
It's trying to move.
I always thought it was an iconic moment for the ride.
Bit stiff in the movements, but they're trying.
Where you see an adult stegosaur and its babies. These are both impressive animatronics, with the adult stegosaur being so huge that the boat does a turn around it just to get its scale. On our left, we see two smaller dinosaurs fighting over a popcorn box, which is also a weirdly iconic gag for the attraction. After this, guests get scared by a Parasaurolophus, which jumps out of the water, spraying everyone as they pass. And today, only the head of this animatronic pops out of the water, but in the early days, the whole body would. It would like very quickly spring out of the water. This unfortunately throws our boat off course, and we were supposed to go into Haddosaur Cove, but actually we get drifted into the raptor containment area, which is really cool. I love the fact that we also see another boat in front of us kind of abandoned, stuck in the entrance of where we're supposed to go. I just think it's a great little piece of environmental storytelling that I really enjoy. And after we drift into that raptor containment area, we can just see how bad it's gotten, with alarms and sirens going
We're
on.
in deep
Past the
shit.
containment unit where we see claw marks and broken wires, and also this cool effect of these kind of shaking and moving branches.
They're clever girls.
The raptors are running around and they're all riled up. On our left, we see another abandoned boat with a Dilophosaurus chewing on a poncho, which is kind of a fun reference and callback to Dennis Nedry when he was killed by one in the same way, wearing a yellow poncho. During this scene, there's also a floating Mickey Mouse hat, which was a not-so-subtle jab at Disney, and we turn another corner and we hear the T-Rex.
I don't think I ever noticed the Mickey Mouse
and we see a tipping
hat.
Jeep that looks like it's going to fall right on us. The T-Rex roar gets louder, and the Jeep tips, sliding down the wall, shooting out sparks.
I do remember that,
It is one of the coolest
sliding
effects in that ride, and I feel like it is really missing with the new Jurassic World remake. This, to be fair, never really worked when it was in Jurassic Park, so maybe that's why. When it did work, this was super cool. It was one of the coolest effects in the ride.
I do remember being there. It was way
Next,
before
we start
Jurassic
going up
World,
a lift
so
hill,
it did
and we
work
get
when
the
I was
idea that
there.
We are going into the environmental
So I do remember
systems
that.
building, and we hear
Can't
raptors
remember
and
what
wind
year it
sounds
was.
of
It
loud
was-
alarms and industrial piping. As we are going up, we are approached by one raptor on our left, and then another
I
coming
can't
through the
remember.
ceiling on our right. After this lift hill, we go down a small drop that leads us to the first time we see the T-Rex hanging above us. It's a super impressive, really big animatronic.
It was before
and it's just kind of
2002.
like a little preview taster before the
think it
main
was.
finale. We then turn a little bit to our
Might have been
left, and we hear people start to
2000?
call over the intercom.
2001
Try to
maybe?
evacuate us on the level platform ahead. Now we got to get out of here before toxic gases begin to fill the room due to the T-Rex breaking the pipes earlier. A countdown starts and we hear another worker in the building start to scream, "If you can hear my voice, get out of there. It's in the building. It's in the building." That's when the T-Rex swings out at us, lunging at us as we dodge it, dropping 85 feet
That's
into
a
the
big
lagoon
bitch.
outside the building below.
Yep,
The ride
I remember
then ends
that.
off with one Dilophosaurus trying to spray us, and we see another Nedry callback with an empty can of Barbasol right next to it as it's kind of
Yeah, the
hiding
bid
in the
drop,
bushes
you
towards
get
the
most of
exit.
it, the
So
water.
that's the ride. It's an incredible, super thrilling, and well-detailed attraction, and it is one of my favorites of all time. My
Yeah,
favorite
you
part of
see
it
it
is
and
that
you're
it is
looking
a
up,
theme
and the
park
reason you're
ride
looking
that
up
takes us into
is
a
that,
fake
oh shit, then
backstage
you go
area of a
down.
theme park.
Is
And it's just so
distract
cool to
you,
be on a ride
and they
that
got
played like a
oh
ride
shit
at a fictional
reaction
theme
of
park that
that
goes
dip.
all wrong. I know I'm not looking at you, Simpsons ride. You don't count. Literally only the Jurassic Park ride does this well. The fact that our tour gets diverted into a maintenance evacuation platform is just such a fun and cool element, and ultimately made the Jurassic Park ride this thing that I would obsess about when I was younger, and really got me into theme parks the way I am today. The story that the
Yeah, I
ride
don't
is
blame
able
you.
to tell with small details sprinkled out makes it so much more fun to ride the ride every time. There's always something that you're seeing or noticing that just adds a little bit more to that story. Considering the fact that the new re-themed version legit has screams of Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard spelling out what's happening to us throughout the entire thing, I guess it kind of just shows you that Universal doesn't really have confidence that we can, pick up on subtler things. The ride is a modern classic, and I'm just so glad we still have Orlando's version. Both Orlando and Hollywood's before it closed were and are showing their age. The animatronics are slow, stuttering, loud, clicking shells of what they used to be, and sometimes big moments in the ride like the T-Rex don't even work anymore. I think it's a testament to how good and nostalgic the ride is that even though the dinosaurs are falling apart, I still want to go on the ride every time. I don't care. I still want that juicy 90s Jurassic Park nostalgia. And even during
Yeah,
the
I would not
final
want to go on the
stages of its
Jurassic
life in
World
Hollywood, I would
stuff
still
because I
ride
think
it every time. This is the
Jurassic
problem with
World
most
and
modern theme parks. Companies just
Dominion
really
and the
don't
new
wanna
one
invest in
sucked.
keeping up with old attractions
Rebirth.
anymore, and especially if they feel like the theme is outdated, they just simply won't. They'll just let it rot away and get really old. Disney does a semi-good job. They'll take a long time sometimes between fixing up old rides, but usually they do, and sometimes it'll even come with new effects, like some of the stuff that they did with Indiana Jones in the past. But Universal just straight up doesn't care. I don't know if you guys have been on the Simpsons ride in a while. The screen in that ride looks god awful. I don't know what they're doing. But it's just because, again,
Nah,
Simpsons
I've
is
never
on
been
the
on the
out. They'll
Simpsons
probably
ride.
replace it in the next 2 years.
Doesn't look
so
like
what's the
much.
point on spending some money on it if they're just going to get rid of it anyway? Before
Watch out,
Jurassic Park
baddie.
the ride was rethemed to Jurassic World the ride, it was more like a dinosaur retirement home than Jurassic Park. They would straight up just put scaffolding around the large Ultrasaur, which I feel like they kept promising that they were going to fix it, but they never did. As much as I'm upset with what they did with Jurassic World, I'm really glad the ride did get some much needed love on the refresh. Universal would announce the closure of Jurassic Park on May 10th, 2018, during a presentation for the 25th anniversary of the original film. And again, as much as the community was upset and scared for what a modern retheme would look like, most of us were just hopeful that it would require, Universal to actually put some money up towards actually making the animatronics and other parts of the ride actually look good. John Corfino would be called onto the project to be its director, and he wanted to keep the magic of the original.
I was gonna say, who the fuck is John Corfino?
Animatronics and the finale. The good parts about the retheme are the new finale, which drops us into a T-Rex exhibit showcasing two amazing new animatronics, with Blue and the large Indominus being fluid walking animatronics. The added scenery to the end scene is just so much better. It looks a lot better. It actually feels like you're in like one of the exhibits in Jurassic Park rather than this bare industrial warehouse. I really love the Indominus Rex animatronic. It gets pretty close to the actual boat that you're in, and it walking out towards you is super intimidating. Just the scale of it all and how fluid it's actually moving. Oh my god, I was blown away when I first saw it. I also like the fact that they add another Indominus at the start when you're about to go up the lift hill. It's kind of hiding in some bushes nearby, kind of stalking you, and it's again a really impressive, huge animatronic. But nothing is more of a reflection of how screen reliant modern Universal is than them building a whole new scene and taking out the entire Ultrasaur Cove. Instead of building a new scene like the pterodactyl stuff we talked about earlier, Universal decided the best way to show off an aquatic dinosaur was to create a large screen on either side of us, replacing the Ultrasaur Lagoon and ruining one of the best reveals the ride had going for it. The visual effects are actually pretty good in this part, and they're produced by ILM, and I really do like the idea of us being in this aquarium that has this big monster that can just swim circles around us. In execution, it's super lame and kind of comes off as cheap. It's hilarious as well when there's a glitch or a malfunction, because this scene is just so reliant on this large screen. It completely ruins the beginning of the ride altogether. Another aspect about this retheme that we talked about a little bit earlier is the screen surrounding you. I mean,
Does
I
seem
love
like
theme park
a
acting.
fun,
I
legit
think it's so
way.
much fun, but these performances are just terrible, and they kind of spread them all throughout the ride, so it just feels like super annoying. Like they're super just telling you what you're supposed to feel and what you're supposed to be seeing and what's happening. And I just find them super goofy. Also, I think that the gray and blue color scheme of the whole area and environment is just super boring and dull to me. It's kind of the same vibe of like when an old Taco Bell gets rid of all of its colorful decoration and becomes like this dark wood,
Yeah.
gray and white kind of modernist vibe.
Yeah,
It
I've
just
seen those
ruins all
Taco
of the
Bells,
charm that it
yeah.
used to have, and it feels more like a Dutch Bros
It's not
than
around
Jurassic Park
anymore,
at this
probably
point.
because
It's
of
not
shit
their
like
fault. This
that.
does kind of fit
Plus their
into the
food tastes
scenery
like shit
of the
too,
film
that's another
itself.
thing.
But don't get me started
Tacos
on those
taste like
movies.
paper.
The Jurassic World movies are just so incredibly bad. I mean, the best part of them is probably the Jimmy Buffett cameo in the first one, and the ending in Lost Kingdom where our heroes go against everything the series has taught us, and they just release dinosaurs into the wild.
Oh, you mean
ruining the
Fallen
world and its
Kingdom. He
ecosystems
said
with
Lost
it because of
Kingdom.
some kind of weird, almost
I think he meant
pseudo
Fallen
pro-life
Kingdom.
message where they're like, oh yeah, because the girl's a clone, the dinosaurs also deserve to live, but like, the little girl is not going to rip people's fucking faces off. The dinosaurs will. So, like, I think there's, like, a little bit of a line in the sand.
Yeah,
here,
that ending
but
was
that's just
stupid.
me.
I actually
But
don't mind
nonetheless,
parts
the
of Fallen
dinosaurs are
Kingdom. I
dinosaurs,
think the
and you don't need
mansion,
to
it was like a
Jurassic World to
B
like the
movie
ride. If it
charm,
wasn't for that
monster in
end
the
scene being
mansion
so
thing.
incredible, though, I think
But that
the
ending with the
ride
girl is
itself would be
stupid.
kind
It
of a
is
flop.
fucking
I mean, the
stupid. It makes
removal of
not
that
a
whole
goddamn
opening
sense.
section removes a lot of
Thanks
the
for killing
charm
so
that
many
starts
people.
off the Jurassic Park ride.
You dumb
But now
bitch.
we've covered all of the American Jurassic Park water rides. Let's quickly go over the different versions all around the world. The Jurassic Park ride at Universal Japan is very similar to Orlando's version. Opening in 2001, the ride improves on Orlando's finale with a little bit better scenery, an extra velociraptor, and some better lighting in general. This end showroom seems like they decided to go back and actually put a little bit more detail into it. Other than that, and some kind of,
Yeah, I like the
minor
red
layout
lighting in
scenery
that with the
differences, they're
T-Rex's
pretty much the
face.
same. The
Red
coolest
lighting
and
was
most
cool.
unique Jurassic Park water ride comes out of Universal Singapore with their Jurassic Park Rapids adventure. And by what the title suggests, it's a bit different in the style of the actual boat system. It's using like the classic water raft ride system. The ride follows a similar story where you're going on this peaceful boat tour until you are knocked off course, sending you through the back rooms of Jurassic Park as dinosaurs are breaking out and escaping. Coolest part has to be the finale, and based off of POVs, it looks terrifying and disorienting. There's this dark section which has a really cool looking opening, like the entrance you go through has like a flipped over Jeep and a tree nearby, and it just looks really cool with the water ride aspects of this.
Yeah.
But long story short, you enter this dark warehouse, kind of similar to the other rides, but it's more of like a water rapids kind of track, so you're going kind of up and down and sliding around this.
That was
whole
very
dark
atmospheric,
area.
very
It
like
looks
creepy.
terrifying. There's this T-Rex that's like menacingly staring at you. You see raptors in the dark, and I don't think I can actually describe
Wow.
this in a good enough way, so you're just gonna have to check it out for yourself. Watch a YouTube POV of this. It's just really cool.
Oh, that
After all
does
this,
seem
you
really
enter an
cool.
elevator lift where the T-Rex is just kind of on top of you, staring at you the whole time, and then doors open and you go down a little drop.
Hey, how's it
For
doing,
water
Belle?
rides, this is one of the most impressive Jurassic Park rides, I think. And I don't know, something about that dark portion just
Damn.
seemed absolutely terrifying. It's like they took what we had in Hollywood and Orlando and just cranked it up to 10. And the only reason why we've had to specify in this video that it's a Jurassic Park water ride is because we've had the openings of the Velocicoaster and the Jurassic World ride in Beijing. And that Beijing ride looks incredible. It looks like maybe one of the best dark rides ever made. I really hope I get to see it one day. I don't know when I'm going to go out to Beijing, but, maybe. Who knows? Overall, there's a long history of Jurassic Park rides at Universal
Yeah, it looks like a
Studios
fun
parks,
one
and
to go
all
to,
unique and
yeah.
different in their own ways. They're all quintessential rides at each park, and I don't think Universal would be the same without them. They revolutionized what you could do and spend on a theme park ride, and they've been entertaining guests for almost 30
Very
years.
ambitious.
The Hollywood
Very
version
ambitious.
will forever be my favorite, and it is probably one of the biggest starts for my theme park obsession as a child. I was building the ride in like Legos as a kid. If you clicked on this video, you probably also have some kind of connection to it too. So comment below and let me know what nostalgia you have for Jurassic Park the ride. And as always, if you haven't, please consider subscribing. It really helps me keep the content train going. But thank you so much guys for tuning in. Please check me out on Blue Sky. I will put the little @ here. It's a little weird on Blue Sky, but check it out. It's where we give updates on the show and everything like that. And if you like this video, please again like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll check you guys out in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.
Very cool. Well, I mean, I said my memory, but long story short, like I said, I cannot remember what year. It was probably early 2000s. My brother was graduating from the Marine Corps, and my family and I went to California to meet with him and congratulate him. And then we figured, well, we're out there, we'll just go to the parks, Disneyland and Universal Studios Hollywood. And I remember that ride being a lot of fun. I do remember the vehicle falling. I do remember the T-Rex, and then it's up high, so you're the diversion, so you're not paying attention to the thing down below. So you get this oh shit reaction, this dip in the water. I think the other ones, I call them the spitters, like they tried to hit, but they didn't hit as much of the people as they wanted. But the big splash was fun. I remember being greedy, like wanting it to be longer. But that was a fun ride. That was a fun one. I would still say Back to the Future is the best Universal Studios ride I've ever been on. But Jurassic Park was a fun one too, so definitely brought back memories. Sad that it is Jurassic World now, and those films. Fallen Kingdom, I don't mind chunks of that movie, but the rest of them, I think, fuck it, suck ass. And yes, that ending of Fallen Kingdom does suck ass too. So, I mean, to be honest, the only Jurassic Park films I really like is 1 and 3, and again parts of Fallen Kingdom. That's about it. So, there you go with that. But that was, like I said, that was fun. That was a fun trip back through memory lane. I appreciate that. So, very cool. So, thank you, Everything or Nothing, for allowing me to use that footage. Thank you, Mark, for the request. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.